Okay, we're live now. Hello. One more time here, Facebook Live. And this time, this is Monica, your host with Lynn. And Lynn, is the first time we're doing this together, right?
It is.
Okay, so you know, Craig was busy today. And, well, we decided to do it together. And for the people that don't know me, I'm Mónica Stoker. I am the author of El Blog para Aprender Inglés and El Blog del Inglés. And with me is Lynn. And okay, so nice having you here. And can you talk a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. Well, thank you for having me, Monica. And my name's Lynn Copperley, and my website is putitlikethis.com. And I'm an online English teacher like you, Monica, as well. Yeah.
Yeah. But you work on your own?
Yes, I just work on my own.
Remotely, right?
Remotely, and all my classes are online, but I teach basically, I tailor make my classes to fit the objectives. My goal is always to try to help people find their own voice in English, and to try to express their own personalities in English. That's my overriding goal.
And you are in Valencia, in Spain,
That's right. But I'm based in Valencia.
We are in Madrid, and she's in Valencia. Okay, in case you want classes from Lynn, you can contact her in the page putitlikethis.com, and you can see it in this banner below. So today, Lynn, we're talking about holidays. And we thought about this topic because we thought, let me see, I think Gemma is going to be here. Hi, Gemma, you're so loyal because it's so difficult.
Yes, I know Gemma too. Hi, Gemma.
So, well, Gemma, we are going to talk today about holidays, and I thought that this was a good topic because many people are only thinking about holidays now because
we say in English, we say it's that time of year again.
Yes, that time of year again, because it's everybody's tired, and then when the weather starts to be hot, you don't feel like work. At least here in Spain, is very, very hot, and so where you feel like thinking, well, where am I going to go? And after we had a very difficult winter, at least in Madrid, and also plus the pandemic. So we wanted to talk about like different topics, divide the topic in different areas, like common questions. Let's see common questions that you would ask. For example, let's start with this one. So, Lynn, I'm going to ask you, where do you usually go on holidays and why?
That's a lovely question. Well, the thing is, because I'm an expat living in Spain, which is not my native country, often when I go on holidays, it's to visit my family. And so, although I'm English, my family now all live in New Zealand.
Oh,
so yeah,
that's very nice.
Yes, it is. But unfortunately, it's a long, long way away, and I can't afford to go there every year. So I usually go to New Zealand every 2 or 3 years, and to visit my family. And then when I'm not doing that, then we usually go on holiday in Spain, because I want to still discover Spain. So there's lots of lovely places to go on holiday, but I really like the north of Spain, like Asturias and the Pyrenees. I've never been to Galicia really, but I'm hoping to go soon. So I'm trying to discover Spain. What about you, Monica? Where do you usually go on holiday?
Okay, I'll tell you later, but I have a question about New Zealand. How long does it take you? That's another question. That is a very common question that everybody gets wrong, because the subject is it, no? So how long does it take you to get to New Zealand? So when you take the plane here from, I suppose Madrid to...
Well, from Valencia. I always have to go from Valencia.
Yeah. How long does it take you?
Well, the problem is my family don't live in the capital city of New Zealand. They live in another city, still on the North Island, but they don't live in Auckland anymore. So I usually have to get 5 flights. So I usually have to go from Valencia to Madrid, and then Madrid. Lately, there's a very fast route now via Dubai. So then I go Madrid, Dubai. Then I do Dubai, Australia, Sydney, Auckland, and then I change flights again in Auckland, and I go Auckland to Napier. So. I have usually that, and the journey in total is very good now, and it takes 35 hours non-stop from door to door. 35 hours.
My God, you get a wooden butt.
Yeah,
I was an expression.
But that is fast, Monica, because a few years ago, before you could fly via Dubai, I used to fly. You could either fly via America, via Los Angeles, or via Asia, because you're going around the world, basically. So you can either go through Asia, through Bangkok or Hong Kong or Singapore, or via Los Angeles and Fiji. And then the longest journey years ago used to take 48 hours.
So 2 days?
2 days.
2 days.
Yeah.
Only sitting on the plane. It's
on the plane. Well, and in the airports. The highlight is changing in the airports.
One on another plane and all that. Poof, I remember the only trip I made like that was to Bali 2 years ago, Indonesia. And there was a woman going to Australia, I remember, the same plane. And I was asking her because she seemed exhausted. And it was even to Bali for me. But because you are exactly on the other end of the world.
Yes.
That's why. Because if you went across all the globe, and you
have to go through the center of the earth. And apparently, somebody told me actually that Valencia is directly. It's the direct link to New Zealand if you went through the center of the earth. But I'm happy to fly over it. It's okay.
But that's the reason, because it's 12 hours of difference. And that's a lot of hours. That is okay. And where do I usually go? The people, the audience we have, if they want to tell us about their holidays, I will be happy to. You just write a comment and we'll talk about it. Where do I usually go on holidays? Well, we usually go basically around Spain, usually. To the beach, either to the south. Also, lots of time. I spent many summers in Costa Brava in Catalonia.
Oh, really?
We love that area because, as you know, my husband is Dutch, and I think it's easier to come to Catalonia when we joined the family there, and also my parents loved this area. And then. I also go to the Netherlands quite often. Well, at least once a year, no? At least for Christmas. Well, with the pandemic, this changed because we haven't been there for already 2 years, I think. Almost 2 years. But usually every Christmas we go to the Netherlands, and in the summer we do something in Spain. Or last year we went to France.
Wow!
To the Alps, and it was fantastic because it was an opportunity, and it was so green, and the mountains were so nice. It's a lot of vegetation because in Spain it tends to be drier. No, you're not. Well,
it does.
In the north, in Valencia A little
In
bit greener.
Valencia in the summer, I hate the worst month in Valencia is August. So
Yeah.
that's why we prefer to go to the north of Spain, because the temperature, it's a horrible heat in Valencia in
Yeah.
August.
You
I
know,
don't like it at all.
yeah, I understand, because you have good weather all year round in
Of
Valencia.
course,
And,
yeah. So
okay, so well, I think we explained the reasons why. So sometimes it's family reasons, and other times it's just because you like to escape from the heat, and also in my case is that well, I changed a little bit the landscape, because also Madrid is quite dry. It's very dry, and the temperatures are also quite
very
extreme.
hot in the summer, aren't
Very
they?
hot, yeah. It's
hot.
only the difference is that you don't have the beach. You in Valencia, at least you can go to the beach. Here, not.
We have the beach. That's
okay.
true.
Yeah. Another common question: what do you usually do when you go on holidays? Bling. This is for you.
Well, we are a bit adventurous. So we like to do adventure sports when we go on holiday with my kids and my husband. Yeah. So we like to try to go places where we can do canyoning. Do you know canyoning?
Canyoning, yes, I know. Canyoning, but that's like you have to be fit.
Well, we get a guide. I mean, we're not experts. We always go with guides, but we do like to do canyoning. So or some kind of like other sporting activity. If we can do kayaking or canoeing or something. And we usually always go walking. We always do some hiking when we're on holiday. So we're quite active when we go on holiday. We're not the kind of people who want to just go on the beach and relax. We've only I mean, my girls are grown up now, they're 22. And in all of the 22 years, last year was the only holiday that we've ever had at the beach.
Yeah, because well, you want to do activities. The last thing you're going to do,
because we've just never done beach holidays. And last year we went to the beach because, of course, with COVID, you couldn't go very far, so we just went up the coast to Peníscola. But even then, we did snorkeling. We all learned how to snorkel. We'd never done snorkeling before, but we want to do something. We're not the type. And also for my skin, I'm not very good on the beach because I burn. I'm just not the right person for the beach.
Oh, me neither. I have a big problem with that because I get red. I don't like it anymore. I used to like it more when I was younger. And I don't want to be lying on the beach. No, me neither. No. But I'm not as sportive as you are, because I don't think I could manage with canoeing or any. No. I'm getting very clumsy with this kind of thing. So it's more like hiking. We do more hiking. We've been several times to Canary Islands also, especially to Tenerife, because I have a friend who lives there. And so it's quite nice because you can go in the winter sometimes and the weather is quite nice. And there the temperatures are not very extreme. And you can do a lot of hiking there.
Yes, I've heard. So, yeah,
okay,
but I've never been to the Canary Islands, no. But I like an adventure holiday.
It's a nice place. It's a nice place.
Yeah, Gemma also likes hiking.
Yeah, that's one of the best sports, I think. You don't have to make a tremendous effort, and
when we've been visiting Asturias many times. We've visited Asturias, and I love Asturias for that because the landscapes are spectacular. When you go walking in Asturias, it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's very nice. Okay, next one. Yeah, you can do that. You can ask me.
So this is: are you going anywhere nice this year? Or are you getting away? Now, that's a nice phrasal verb, to get away. And to get away has the sense of escape, because the phrasal verb to get away means to escape. So, of course, you can be if any of you watch crime series, they often talk about the getaway car for the bank robbers. It's the car that they escape in. But we use that phrasal verb also for holidays, and we say, are you getting away anywhere nice this year? Are you escaping anywhere nice this year? So, Monica, are you getting away anywhere nice this year? You said you're tired of teaching and it's hot and you want to have a break. Are you getting away anywhere nice?
Yes, I am going to Croatia.
Oh, wow.
That is a surprise, right? But I had an invitation because it's my birthday, and I got this special invitation, and I am going to be away for 10 days in July, I think.
Oh,
And
lovely.
and I'm looking forward to it because
And
it's a very
have you been to Croatia
no,
before?
not really. I was at the airport 2 years ago, but this year we're going to stay there. And now I'm really happy about this because we booked this trip. A friend of mine and myself, like in January, when we didn't know if it was going to happen really, because we thought, woof, with the COVID, who knows, no? Maybe we never get to go there, but I paid an insurance because I thought maybe we have to cancel. You don't know.
Yeah.
And then actually the tickets were very, very cheap because
Oh,
at
wow.
that time
Nobody was going on holiday.
no, nobody was going on a holiday, but I do have to do the PCR and this kind of thing because my vaccine is not going to be. I'm going to have the second shot next Saturday, so I am not going to be in time for because you have to wait 14 days later.
Yeah, so it's not going to be fully active.
Exactly. Oh, that's a very good expression. My vaccine is not going to be fully active, she said. You notice that? Because sometimes you're looking for these expressions. How do you say that in English? It's not going to be fully active. Right. And so I have to, I just have to do the PCR before and then I'm leaving. And, well, I'm going to get back around the 15th, I think. And you?
Oh, that's lovely. Well,
going?
we hope we are, because my youngest daughter, it's going to be her 18th birthday, and we always promised that we would go to Lisbon. But last week they closed Lisbon because of COVID. They have another outbreak. But we have until August. So it's not her birthday until August. So I hope that we can go to Lisbon. But if we can't get to Lisbon, we'll go somewhere, I'm sure. I'm sure we'll find somewhere nice.
So Lisbon have you ever been to Lisbon?
Yes, I've been to Lisbon many times, but I've always gone just with my husband. My husband used to live in Lisbon many, many years ago, and he showed me Lisbon, and we love Lisbon. And on the very few occasions, not many times that my husband and I have had holidays together, I think maybe 3 or 4 times we had a weekend without the children. And we always went to Lisbon. And when we came back, we always told the children how great it was. And then it became a family plan. My youngest daughter said, when I'm old enough to drink, I want to go to Lisbon and go to these lovely bars and these restaurants that you always talk about.
Yeah,
so that's why we said
absolutely.
When she was 18, we would take her to Lisbon, and my other daughters are older. So now we're all going to, I hope we can go to Lisbon, and then their dad can show them Lisbon.
I was thinking this is a similar question, actually. Any plans for the summer?
Yeah.
And maybe somebody of our audience, if they want to share their plans for the summer, if they have any. We will be delighted to talk about it. So write a comment and put your plans. But it's the same kind of question, no? It's the same kind of question. Where are you going? Any plans for the summer?
Any plans for the summer?
I was going to say that also. I was going to add that Lisbon is a place that I think is not only Lisbon, Portugal in general is a great place to go. I
because the food is lovely, the people are really nice.
The people are lovely, everything.
And Lisbon, there's just so much to see. It's so interesting in Lisbon. I think it's really interesting. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to go to another section, is common sentences. So I think we have already used some of these sentences when we were talking about answering the questions. And the first one we have here, and I'm thinking about spending some time. This is a future tense. Notice how you use the present continuous to speak about the future and not the present tense. This is a very common, let's say,
Mistake, isn't it? It's a mistake.
Yeah, from Spanish speakers, because we use the present tense many times to speak about the future. And in English, it's not always possible to use the present tense. So
well, we're using, I think the mistake that I notice the most with Spanish people is that they use the present simple to talk about the future, which we can in English, but not in this sense. We would use here present continuous because it means that it's not finished, the action. Yeah, so I'm thinking about spending some time. We also use present continuous as well for future things that we have arranged. If we've made the arrangements, you can say, I'm flying to Lisbon, which is, I'm flying to Lisbon in August. I would use present continuous if I have the ticket. If I've bought the ticket, then I would say, I'm flying to Lisbon, because it's a fixed arrangement. It's all secure. And then we use present continuous to express the future.
And here, in this case, it's future too, but in this case is another form, because it's not really totally sure that you're going to do it. No, it's just here you're just expressing something that you would like to do in the future. I'd like to visit or see it because I've heard it's a great place, but I'm not sure that if I'm going to do it. No, this is just it's a kind of wish. No.
Yes.
Because but here we have a combination of tenses, because this is I would like. It's really like a conditional. I would like, or modal verb use, but then because I've heard is the present perfect.
That's right.
Because I just recently heard that it's a great place. No, so in the case of Lynn, she was saying, I like to visit Lisbon because your daughter would say this kind of because you have already been there.
I've already been.
Yeah, that is the difference. And then another tense we can use, and this is you can explain this, because this is a prediction, how we use will, no?
So there's three different ways in this banner that you can express future wishes. So you can say I will, which of course many people believe is the future tense. But you've got to be very careful with the word will in English, because it's not the most common way of expressing the future. Now, we use will when we decide something spontaneously. So, for example, we can say, I'll go to India one day, I'm sure. I'll go there, I'm sure. And we use it for, in this sense, it's a prediction. And of course, we also use will for spontaneous future. So if the doorbell rings, ding dong, you say, I'll get it. Now, in Spanish, that's a problem, because in Spanish, you use the present tense, no? Lo cojo. But we say, I'll get it. And we also use will for predictions. So also in fairy tales, in Cinderella, the fairy godmother says to Cinderella, you will go to the ball. She's making a prediction, right? So we use will for prediction, but usually if we're talking about our holidays, we're not actually predicting, usually. Okay.
No. Well,
and more common would be to use the going to future when you're talking about holidays, or the present continuous. Now, I touched on that before. If you have an intention, then we use the going to future. So in August, we're going to go to Lisbon, or I'm going to do some canyoning when we go on holiday. Now, those are our intentions. They're the things that we want to do in the future. And so we use going to for intention. And then the other present tense, we could use present continuous, but that was the one I told you about before. That's for if you have, it's not only an intention, but you've made an arrangement, you've done something. It's a fixed plan. Then you use present continuous. So if you've bought the ticket, you say, I'm flying to Lisbon. If I say, I'm going to fly to Lisbon, I haven't bought the ticket yet. It's just an intention, right? So I'm going to fly to Lisbon that's the way I intend to travel to Lisbon, but I'm not sure. I might change my mind. But if I say I'm flying to Lisbon, I have the ticket and it's certain that I'm going to do it.
I think that's a great explanation, because many times people are not sure what to say, if either to say going to or the present continuous, and what is really the difference. And basically is like the degree of planning. If you already have got the tickets, like you said, like you just said, or if you have done some arrangements, you have it on your agenda, you know that it's exactly that day, it's going to be the present continuous. But going to is just something that you have planned, but you have not made the arrangements.
You haven't made
I want
the
to
arrangements.
repeat that because it's in our mind, I think it's very difficult to distinguish these two different tenses, no?
I can give you another example as well, when it's important that you notice it. And that is, if you are in a conversation with somebody, let's imagine a boy is asking a girl to go out with him, right? And he says, do you want to come to the cinema tonight? Would you like to come to the cinema tonight? If the girl says, I'm going to go to a restaurant tonight, that would be an intention, wouldn't it? Yeah. Or I'm going to meet some friends later. That's an intention. And so if you say I'm going to, then the boy might think, okay, maybe I can change her mind. Yeah. And he might say, oh, but forget about your friends. Come to the cinema with me. It'll be much better. Okay. So if the girl replies with going to, then it's an intention. That's something that can be changed. Okay.
Yeah.
But if the girl replies, I'm meeting some friends tonight, present continuous, that English people pick that up, and then probably he's not going to try to change her mind, because she's made it very clear it's a fixed arrangement. Don't ask, because I've just refused. I'm not going.
That is a very good example, because it's really difficult to remember that. Remember exactly
so it's sometimes it's like
the context where you
it's
can
the context as well.
Yeah.
Or also, for example, in business, your boss can say, what are you doing? And you can say, well, this afternoon I'm going to call those customers. And then the boss will say, because you've said I'm going to call, that's intention. Right? Your boss might say, well, I've got something more important for you to do. Come to my office and I want you to help me with this, right? Call the people tomorrow. If your boss comes and says, what are you doing this afternoon? And you say, oh, I'm meeting these customers. Then the boss will say, oh dear, I wanted you to help me. Never mind, I'll go and ask somebody else.
Okay, so it's incredible how one sentence can tell so much about what you're thinking.
Exactly.
Here you have like a summary, also, or an explanation, and the banner. I mean, the banner related to holidays. The topic, today's topic. No? Present continuous, arranged future. We're flying to Los Angeles and then renting a car and driving around the West Coast. That is the arranged future. So you're absolutely sure you're doing that. You have the tickets. You rented the car already, and you know.
And you have your itinerary where you're going to do.
Yeah. And then we can change. This is another way to talk with the present tense. In this case, is an habitual action, no, something that you regularly do. I usually go to the Netherlands on holiday, for example. This is my case, but for Christmas, not in the summer. And Lynn, you usually go to Asturias, for example. That's something frequent. And then I think everybody understands this
It's
tense.
a repeated action. It's a regular
repeated
action.
The only problem comes with this tense is when you mix it up with the future, because a lot of people think that this can be future. Or
No, and it isn't.
to talk about now. To talk about now, we use the present continuous, not the present tense. In Spanish, you can use the present tense to talk about now. For example, Lynn and I, we're talking, and this is present continuous, not the present tense. And many times there's a confusion with these two tenses. So present is a regular habitual action, something that you frequently or not frequently, once a year, but there is a kind of
is a repetition involved.
Repetition in time. So another example, I enjoy sightseeing. Sightseeing is, we can translate it as hacer turismo, actually. Yeah? Well, literally is ver, no? Ver sitios, yeah. But I think,
and you see, sightseeing is it's not activities. So, for example, like I like canyoning. Canyoning is not sightseeing.
No.
Sightseeing is when you're really looking at something famous of the place where you are. It could be a monument or a historical landscape. That could be sightseeing.
When I listen to this, I always think of a landscape, because it's this is one of the things we do in the summer, actually, because it's very relaxing. You know, when you go to the mountains, for example, to see all the trees, to see vegetation, it's relaxing. So I enjoy very much sightseeing, but it's difficult to translate it into Spanish, because I would say hacer turismo, but hacer turismo is very generic, because
it's very generic. And what you were describing as well, Monica, if you go into the mountains, you enjoy seeing the views, which if the landscapes, when you're saying landscapes, I would say seeing the views. But sightseeing, a sight is something that is renowned in the place that you are. So it could be, in your case, that you go in the mountains and there might be a specific site. For example, when I go to Asturias, we often do the Ruta de Cares, which is a very famous walk along a mine track. And you can see the Naranja de Bulnes, which is a very famous site because it's a mountain peak. That would be sightseeing. Okay, so if you go there because it's a famous site to see, people say go there and you can see the Naranjo de Bulnes, right? But if it's just trees, like anywhere, then that's enjoying the views. So a site is something that is like a renowned tourist destination, or something to see that is famous or typical of the place.
Very good clarification of this term, because I don't think many people know that. Gemma says, me too. She enjoys, I think she means sightseeing, and I take a lot of photos. Yes. Yeah, I enjoy that. I make lots of pictures. Well, now it's so easy because you do it with mobile phones.
I'm hopeless at pictures. I never take pictures. I say to my family, take a picture. Take a picture.
No, I do all the time, but because I'm on Instagram and I usually share these pictures.
Oh, you're very modern,
come on. I'm in sightseeing. But I enjoy pictures. It's like a kind of art. Not that I am an artist, but I try. I try at least. Okay, let's go. Let's continue with this. This is another one that is quite difficult. I noticed that many times the students never get this because they confuse this expression with I am used to. And I used to. This is always the confusion, and I don't know. I think the trick here is to think of an example and try to internalize the meaning, because if you don't really understand the meaning, it's very difficult to remember it. I used to go, for example, I used to go to the Netherlands for Christmas, but not anymore because of the COVID, for example. Antes iba. So, antes o solía ir. And I used to go, but this doesn't have anything to do with I'm getting or I get used to or I'm used to. That has the verb to be or get. This I used to go is something that you did in the past and you don't do anymore. But that's why Lynn put, but nowadays I stay at home because of the COVID. There's no other word. I cannot go anywhere. I used to go to the beach, but nowadays I stay at home with my dog. Because I cannot go anywhere. No, so it's a combination of past and present. And remember, used to, without to be, and without yet.
Get. Which, because that means to become accustomed to.
To be accustomed to something.
That's something different.
So remember that. Let me see if there's a comment. Rafa, you're here. Hi. And Antonio.
Hi, Rafa. And Antonio.
Look, and Antonio says, I have been to Ruta del Cares. It's amazing.
It is. It's lovely. It's a lovely walk.
So wait a minute. Okay, let me go back. And now,
one more point, maybe, if I can just make about used to, because I often find that my students often make mistakes. Sometimes they do the mistakes that you've mentioned by mixing it up with the verb to become accustomed to, which is, for example, I'm getting used to doing a live stream class. Because it's something I didn't used to do in the past, and now I'm getting used to working online. That's to be accustomed to. But used to, as Monica said, this used to is a habit in the past. And just remember that if you're talking about habits in the present, that's when you use the word usually with present simple. Right. So I usually go, Monica, you usually go to the Netherlands at Christmas. Okay. Yeah. And when I was younger, I used to go to England at Christmas. But then my parents and my family moved to New Zealand. And now I usually go to New Zealand. Okay.
Right. Okay. So that is another thing I wanted to say about get used to distinguish it from this expression is that get in Spanish, I get used is used usually when in Spanish we say me estoy acostumbrando. It's kind of like reflexive. So the action it's for you, for yourself, like me estoy, I'm getting used to doing live streams. I'm getting used to, I don't know, video conferences because I never did video conference before. So what that indicates is the process. It's a process that is a continuous process. In this case of learning something, I'm getting used to my partner. My partner is a pain in the neck. I'm getting used to, for example, I'm getting used to him or to her or whoever. No? Let me see another comment here. Elias says, Elias, I'm an intermediate, but I'm trying to understand. Yeah, I know that we're not using any Spanish, almost no Spanish. And so it's more difficult because my followers are usually, some of my followers are beginners and low intermediate. And so this kind of Facebook Live for them is a big challenge. But we try to speak slowly and we put the comments and you can do the replay, Elias, you replay. And that will be, I think it will help you with your English if you do the replay because we try to explain it slowly, I hope. So let's go back to our banners. And what do we have here? Then the last one we have here is I went to, but next year I will go. Okay, this is the combination of past and future. Okay, can you think of an example, Lee?
Yeah. Last year I went to Peniscola, but and this year we're not sure where we'll go. But next year I'll go to New Zealand, definitely. I hope COVID is
because
over
you
and
haven't
I can
been
go back to New Zealand, because I
you
haven't been
haven't
to New
been
Zealand for
to
3
New Zealand.
years now.
3 years now.
3 years, yeah.
And
So I want to see my family.
36 hours, you said.
36 hours.
What do you do when you arrive there? You just fall dead. You drop dead.
Yeah, a little bit.
You
You
sleep for one day.
tend to fall asleep around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and it's 6 o'clock in the evening. You can't. I mean, I'm always asleep. So
and also in this kind of countries, when you go to New Zealand, you have to go at least for 15 days, because otherwise it's not worth it. No?
3 weeks. 3 weeks.
3 weeks. You usually go 3 weeks.
Because 1 week is only and 1 week is jet lag. I mean, if it takes 2 days, nearly 2 days to get there, 2 days to get back, and you usually have 2 days where you are just so tired you can't do anything. So 1 week is gone. You have 1 week for the journeys and
jet lag.
This is called
jet lag. Jet lag. When you arrive there, you have this jet lag, which is a common problem when you travel overseas to another continent, because it's a different time zone. Another part of vocabulary. When you travel, you start using this vocabulary. Okay, let's jump to idioms. This is one I want to talk about, this one, because this one, I didn't know this idiom until very recently. I never heard this idiom before. And I really love this idiom, because in Spanish we're more negative. We say un pueblo de mala muerte. And I think it's the reason why we say that is because in the past, when you were in a small village, maybe nowadays too, no, it's difficult to find a hospital. It's difficult to get to the hospital. So I think that's the origin. If somebody in the audience knows better than me, I will appreciate if you write an explanation to this. And in English, it's a very positive kind of idiom. It said, a one-horse town. Lynn, have you ever been in a one-horse town?
Yes, I have, but I don't think it's so positive in English. You think it looks positive. There's no word of death in there. But usually,
that's right.
A one-horse town is like, it's not very cosmopolitan. No, there's not a lot of movement. There's only one horse.
But at least you got a horse.
At least well, yes, it could be worse. You could have no horses.
That's why I say it's funny, because in Spanish it's kind of negative. You said, un pueblo de mala muerte is like, wow, it's like you don't even have a place to die. Okay, because there's nobody going to take care of you. And it's in fact, I think we have this situation less and less, because there's more communication. But a one-horse town, I can picture myself like in a one-horse town, and there's a little horse. I love animals, so I love this horse. They're waiting for me, to make a picture, to the one-horse town. So, it's funny, because I always lived in big cities, and I really don't know, but I often ask students that come from small villages, how is it to live in a small village? No, and there are, like in every place, advantages and disadvantages, right?
That's true.
So
yeah, that's true.
Okay, Lynn, this is for you, and the next idiom. So one horse town, un pueblo de mala muerte. Okay,
right.
Yeah, everybody understands that in Spanish.
Yeah.
Okay, let me see.
And this one, I like this one. Off the beaten track. Now, you know the verb to beat, which is you can beat a drum. Yeah, you have a beat in music. You can beat somebody when you hit somebody repeatedly. Okay. And of course, the verb to beat also means to win. In English, that we have two verbs: to win a prize or a trophy or a medal in the Olympics, but you beat a person. You never win a person. You beat a person. So in sport, you beat a person. Now, beat means to be the winner. Okay, to beat. Now, beat also means to hit. And when you walk in the countryside, when you step on the grass gets beaten down. So when people walk in the same path all the time, the track is beaten because it's walked a lot. So that helps when you're in the countryside. You can follow a track because many people have walked in the same way over and over again. Now, if you go off the beaten track, so you don't walk the track where everybody's beaten it, because repeatedly people have walked the same way. If you go off the beaten track, it means you go somewhere that not many people go to. And when we talk about holidays, this is often a very positive thing. If you go on holidays and you say, oh, Monica, I went to Asturias. It was great, but I'll tell you somewhere off the beaten track. It's much better. Don't do the Ruta de Cares because thousands of people go and do the Ruta de Cares. But I found this wonderful walk that you can do, and it's near Cangas, and it's off the beaten track, but it's quite easy to find, and it's beautiful. All right.
Yeah, the problem in Spanish that we don't really have like an expression like that. Not that I know. Es como que no es un camino común, no es
una cosa
usual. Es como fuera de la ruta turística. Maybe Rafa, this is for you. He's a tour guide, and maybe Rafa is saying also. I wanted to show his comment about one-horse towns. Nowadays, people are looking for one-horse town to be quiet. Yes, exactly. Yeah, it's more common. Yeah, okay. So I was saying, here somebody says, Antonio says, fuera del camino más trillado. Yeah, something like that. The off the beaten track. But it's difficult if you don't know the meaning of that expression. Is difficult to understand because it has no connection with anything, at least that you know, because it's
in Spanish.
It's very Germanic. This expression is it's not Latin. This is very much a Germanic expression of the beaten track.
Now we use it. Rafa has used it nicely. He says, "I love to go off the beaten track." That's what he said. I love to go off the beaten track, which means that when he goes on holiday, he prefers to do things that not the masses do. He doesn't like to do the things that all the tourists do. He likes to do things that are more unusual. No? So you can say, I love to go off the beaten track. And you can also use it like an adjective. You can say, I know this lovely hotel off the beaten track. Or I know this lovely village off the beaten track. And you describe something, a village, a hotel, that is less commmen. Yeah.
Yeah, he's saying, Rafa is a tour guide. He says,
ruta alternativa.
Yeah. And then it's just not very common. Yeah, correct, Antonio. I don't think I ever heard that expression in Spanish. The next one is very easy because it's the same. In Spanish, it's exactly the same. To recharge your batteries, you need to recharge batteries. That was exactly what I was talking at the beginning of this Facebook Live. I was saying that a lot of people are thinking about holidays now because of the weather and because summer is here already. And so it's very easy to say this in Spanish. I don't think it has any problem. Look, what Rafa says. When you come to Cordoba, we would do the tour of
Rafa, I am going to take him up on that because Cordoba is a place I've always wanted to go to. So when I come to Cordoba, I shall look you up, Rafa, and you can give me a guided tour.
This is a phrasal verb.
Yeah.
Se va a coger la palabra. Okay, banners. Let's go back to. We're a little bit slow, Lynn.
Okay, sorry. Hurry up then.
Okay, to get itchy feet. You can say this. To get itchy feet.
Okay, so to get itchy feet. Itchy is when you are itchy, you have to scratch because your skin is itchy. So when we get itchy feet, it means to be restless. You want to go on holiday. Yeah. So if somebody describes somewhere and you go, oh, I've got itchy feet, which means that your feet are itchy and you want to run away, or you want to
And to
go
move.
on holiday. You want to move.
You want to move. In Spanish, we don't really have an idiom like that. Tengo ganas de cambiar de sitio. Tengo ganas
That's
de
right,
salir.
and to change. And a perfect example is me. When I grew up and I studied, when I went away to university, I always thought that I would go back to my hometown, which was Sunderland in England. And I thought, I'm going to live in Sunderland for the rest of my life. That was my vision when I went to university. But I was studying languages, and the first time I went on a trip to France, and I saw and I had a feeling for what travel was, then I got itchy feet, and I never, ever went back to Sunderland. And my entire life, I have had itchy feet. I've lived in different countries all around the world. And I'm a person with very itchy feet.
Okay, the next one. This is funny. I packed everything but the kitchen sink. And this is easy to explain because this is something when I started traveling, I made this mistake. Because you're packing the suitcase and I got too much luggage, and then it's a big problem. I don't do this anymore. So this literally means how do you say in Spanish? Hice la maleta e incluso puse el kitchen sink es el fregadero.
El fregadero.
Hasta el fregadero.
But the word "but" there for the people, maybe they're not sure about the word "but." The word "but" means except.
Yeah, this is a different meaning. Except the kitchen sink, meaning that you packed everything. And this is a big mistake because also you have to leave some room when you come back, because I don't know what happens when you go on a trip, you come back with more luggage. So you have to give some room, but I don't do this anymore. Pack everything but the kitchen sink. I think it's related to traveling, and it's usually a mistake. And then we have, this is to hit the road. And this is just also.
It means to hit the road, means to start a journey. Okay, so let's hit the road, which means let's set off. To set off is another phrasal verb, which means to start a journey. And this is an idiomatic expression, to hit the road, which means let's go. If you like.
Let's go. Yeah. Because sometimes it's very confusing, because hit is the pegar and road. Whatever is it? You hit the. What is the meaning of that? It's just I'm leaving. No, I'm hitting the road. So to get away from it all. Another expression that can be related to holidays, because you're tired and you're stressed and you want to. Lynn talked about get away before. That means to escape. To get away. So to get away from it all means to just abandon everything, leave it there, never see it again. Many times we have this feeling like, I'm going on holiday, let's not come back. Because you think of the place you're living as related to stress or to working too much and all that. Okay.
Rafa has a question, but I'm not sure.
You are broken hand, spend too much money. That is ser un manirroto. Yeah, I don't know the idiom in English. That you spend too much money. I don't know. Well, we have to think about this. Maybe we can Google it. I don't know. Yeah, manirroto. That's what I said. Manirroto. Maybe Lynn knows the expression in English.
I've never heard it in Spanish. No, you could say the money slips through his hands or flows through his fingers, through his fingers.
That means in Spanish means someone who spends too much money without thinking about the future, in a way. That just spends without taking care about how much money he really has. He or she really has. Okay. I think we can look for that. Let me see.
Yeah, I'm looking for it now. It says extravagant. You can be extravagant, or a spendthrift is another alternative.
Oh, but
I've
that's
found.
not a little bit difficult to pronounce that.
But it's difficult to pronounce, and it's not so common to say a
Not so
spendthrift.
common.
We
Because
would just say you waste money.
you're wasting money. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Many times idioms have to do with I think the customs or behavior of people in certain contexts. And that's the reason why sometimes you get idioms that are not exactly the same, and you're not able to translate them because it's the culture that is behind also. In the middle, maybe Protestants' culture take more care about not spending so much money. I don't know. So. There could be some kind of thing like that, you know?
I don't know.
Behind that, because it's cultural. Some of the things are cultural. Now I have another. I don't know if I think it's your turn because I.
Yeah. Okay. So in the middle of nowhere, this is an expression I use a lot. When you want to say that somewhere is very remote, then I say, oh, we were in the middle of nowhere. Of course, nowhere doesn't exist. And when you're in the middle of somewhere that doesn't exist, it means there's nothing around you. I love that expression, in the middle of nowhere.
But it combines well with one-horse town. I was in the middle of nowhere.
Nowhere. Yeah, that's right. In a one-horse town. I was in the middle of nowhere in a one-horse town. Off the beaten track as well.
Off the beaten track. Yeah, all together. We can say all together. Okay, I don't know. Okay. I would like Lynn to explain this because we know trip is a noun and travel is a verb. But travel sometimes can be a noun, and that's is very confusing. And Lynn has an example for us.
Right, that's right. So these words are very common for Spanish people to get mixed up with. So if we look at those, first of all, the verb, there can be a verb, to travel. So I am traveling to Portugal this summer. Okay, so travel can be a verb. But we're not talking about verbs now. We're talking about nouns. And we have several nouns here. We have the word trip. We have the word travel, and I'm going to give a third one, which is journey, because all of those three words in Spanish often are used with the word viaje. Okay, now let's start first of all. When you say in Spanish, un viaje, one, you cannot say one travel because the noun travel is uncountable. Right? And travel for us in English is the generic sense of travel. So I love travel. I love traveling, we often say. And often you see that word travel in compound nouns. So you see travel agency or travel guide or travel program on the television. Right? So you often see the word travel like that with another noun, and it's a compound noun. But if you go on holiday, you don't go on travel because travel is non-countable. You go on a trip. So if you are talking about a holiday, then you have to use the word trip. I went on a great trip last year to Portugal. Okay, or this year, I think you are going on a trip to Corsica, to Croatia. To Croatia. Okay, right. So a trip is what you say un viaje. Hacer un viaje is to make a trip, to do a trip, or to take a trip. Right, and you can take a trip or do a trip, which is more like go on a trip. And when we say to make a trip, it gives us a sense that you've planned more things. And that's why we use the verb to make. But you can make, do, or take a trip. Okay. And then we have the third word, which we haven't written here, which is the word journey. And journey refers to the transport from one place to another. So, for example, if Monica comes and meets me at the airport and she says, ¿Cómo fue el viaje? She would say, how was the journey? That's what we would say in English. How was the journey? Did you have a good journey? Which means, was the process of traveling pleasant? Yeah. So your road journey or your plane journey, how was the journey? And you say, oh, it was tiring. Or for example, I can say it's a very long journey to New Zealand.
Okay. Yeah, journey is trayecto in Spanish.
So it's like the process of traveling, the process trayecto. Of traveling. So you go on a trip, you go on a journey, but travel, definitely not.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Travel agency, travel.
Okay, I think we don't have too much time left.
No, so that's the end of it. We'll have to make another trip another time.
Because we missed many of the vocabulary we have there, but I would like to mention the last one.
Okay.
Is tourism and to tour. Especially, well, tourism, everybody understands. No, but the expression touristic, that is not very touristic. A lot of people say that, and in English, we cannot say that. That's Spanglish. So I want to make a remark on that because it's very, very common. We say, and how can we say it then? We say, for example, that's a popular tourist, not touristic, tourist destination. Okay? That how we make it into an adjective, not as a touristic, but tourist, like tourist. Un turista can be a tourist, but also is an adjective here as a tourist.
Well, I think Monica, with tourist destination, it's a compound noun, like I was doing with travel agent or travel agency. So a tourist destination, you're making it more like a compound noun. Yeah, and we do have an adjective, but it's not. I use it,
we talked about
which we talked about earlier, but I don't think, maybe in America they don't use it, I don't know, but in British English, some people we can say it's a bit touristy. It's a bit too touristy for me. I prefer touristy with a Y on the end.
With a Y at the end,
so I can say, I'll use some of the language we talked about today. I used to like traveling to Paris. But Paris nowadays is a bit too touristy for me. Yeah. I prefer to go off the beaten track and to go to other places in France.
Why don't we wrap up with the idioms? Because wrap up with all the things we talked is too much. So I'll do one and you can do another one. Okay. So I can say that I start with a one-horse town is un pueblo de mala muerte. Beaten track for you, Lynn.
I don't know the Spanish translation. You give this.
No, but you say it in English.
Somewhere that's remote. It's not so touristy. Hema's got it right there. It's not so touristy.
To recharge your batteries, you know this in Spanish, recargar las baterías, las pilas, decimos las pilas. Okay.
To get itchy feet means you have a desire to go traveling.
Okay. I packed everything but the kitchen sink. Means I, llené la maleta hasta arriba.
You took everything. You took too much.
Which is not very handy.
To hit the road means to start your journey.
To get away from it all es escapar de todo. And in the
middle of nowhere is another word again for a place that is very remote. So in the middle of nowhere, a one-horse town, or somewhere off the beaten track. They're all three ways of saying the same thing.
Okay. So thank you very much for coming. And thank you, our loyal followers, Gema, Rafa, Antonio. So we really appreciate you're here. I wanted to say that next week, I think you're doing this Facebook Live with Craig.
With Craig again.
But probably you'll have to do more Facebook Lives because I'm going to be away, no? Getting away from you guys. I'm not coming back. So please visit el blog para aprender inglés en Blog del Inglés, where you can find a lot of free material. And I'm going to write a post, but I don't know when about this, probably 15 more days. And you're going to find all this material online. and it's written in Spanish. And Lynn, nice having you here. Nice doing
Thank
this
you very
virtual
much.
stuff.
It was a pleasure.
Yeah.
And I think in your blog, you should write a postcard from Croatia. I want to know about how Croatia is when you go. You should write a blog about your holiday in Croatia. All right. So thank you for having me.
And remember to visit Lynn at your page.
Putitlikethis.com. Yeah, if you're interested in classes.
If you're interested in lessons from Lynn, please visit that page. Elias said, I'm an old follower. Thank you, Elias. Thank you, Lorena. Thank you, Miriam. I'm looking at the names here. Thank you for coming. And well, next week with Cray and Lynn again. Okay, thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.